The Jets fired the most unimportant person in their building.
If you're going to fire Sal, okay, just make Aaron Rodgers the coach. He's the damn coach anyway.
I'm not happy for him. I'm never happy to see somebody get fired. But I'm not going to lie, this doesn't surprise me one bit.
I don't think anybody's going to lose any sleep in that Jets locker room that a man lost his job because of our ineffective play.
They can go right ahead with that nonsense that the Jets are a Super Bowl team and Salah by himself is keeping them from reaching all their great potential.
It was a great day for Jets PR yesterday as Aaron Rodgers continues and Robert Saleh was fired. We've been talking about it all morning long. We're back on Get Up, and the man whose voice I wanted to hear this morning has now popped up in the upper left hand of our screen. Damian Woody, who played the last several years of his career with the Jets and loves the organization and is as close to it as you can be. D. Wood, I'm giving you the floor. What is your reaction to what happened yesterday?
Yeah, I think Swagoo said something yesterday that really hit home. They fired the most unimportant person in that whole pie, Robert Saleh. Listen, at the end of the day, he was unimportant because when you bring on Aaron Rodgers and you bring in Nathaniel Hackett, you've basically neutered the head coach because you've ceded all the power. But Greeny, let me take a 30,000 view of this whole thing. Every great organization, it always starts at the top. I don't care whether it's football, business, every great organization has top-notch leadership at the top, okay? And Ambassador Johnson, he's been the owner of the Jets since 2000. This has been one of the worst organizations in the National Football League, okay? There's no sugarcoating or anything like that, okay? And so I've always said you can't win consistently in the National Football League if you don't have two things. If you don't have great ownership and if you don't have great coaching. And if you look at the Jets over his tenure as the owner, they haven't had those things. Okay, look at some of the people that have left the Jets to do things. Todd Bowles, when he was with the Jets, was a bad head coach. All of a sudden, he becomes a great head coach in Tampa. He's doing a hell of a job there. Sam Darnold, great talent, leaves Jets organization, finds his way to the Minnesota Vikings. Now all of a sudden, Sam Darnold is playing great. Okay, these things aren't just coincidence. This is just the way of the National Football League. And I'm not going to absolve Aaron Rodgers in this whole thing either, because when you bring in Aaron Rodgers, he swore up and down, I need my boy Nate Hackett in here. Well, what the hell did Nate Hackett do in Denver in that 1 year with Russell Wilson? Got his behind fired in year one because we all saw how terrible of a coach that he was. And then, for some reason, it just thought it was a great idea. Hey, with Aaron Rodgers, let's bring in Nate Hackett. Well, what in the hell did Nate Hackett show that he deserved to be the offensive play caller with the New York Jets? And so, when you make a deal with the devil, you live in hell. And that's right now where the Jets are in hell.
Okay. And so we've gone there.
Yes, that's where we
We're
are.
all the way to hell now. Okay. So, listen, no one can disagree with the word you said. I opened the show with very similar thoughts and all the rest of that. Let's try and spin it. Again, this is something we've been talking about most of the morning. Let's spin it in a different direction.
Spin it.
What if this works? The reality of it is, what if things get better? They're playing a somewhat decimated Buffalo team on Monday night. If they win that game, they're 3-3, and they are in an improbable tie at the top of the AFC East. Oh, by the way, during Ambassador Johnson's tenure, they're the only team in the division not to win it more than once, but let's not digress. So let me come back over here to you on this. Davante Adams
is still in play.
Is still in play.
Yes.
Will you expand on that thought, please?
Well, if Marcus Spears is going to say they fired the most unimportant person in the building, then why would you think this can't actually galvanize the team? Oh. Because here's the thing. I'm curious if this will be like Antonio Pierce of last year, from the standpoint of they get rid of Josh McDaniels in Vegas, and then Antonio Pierce comes along, and guys are like, I'm fired up. Ulbrich, from everybody I've talked to, players included, he's real, he's authentic, and he's been in our shoes. He's a former player. I don't know if this will work, but I do think at least for 1 week, that you get the interim coach bump, that boost of now, here's the other thing. Everybody's on notice. You get rid of the head coach, all the coaches are on notice. Players now are like, okay, did you, Greeny, as a fan or anyone feel inspired? If you're Woody Johnson, are you looking around and thinking people feel inspired by the way my team has looked the last 2 weeks? I got to do something. I got to shake something up. Did you feel inspired by the Jets the way they've looked?
Of course not.
Now it's like, oh, I wonder what they'll do on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills, a team that they always play well, a team that they.
Can we go back to Davante Adams though? Like, where are we with that?
So. We expected that this week things would heat up from the standpoint of the Raiders don't want to keep him around, a guy who doesn't want to be there. The issue, though, is that he's got a lot of money coming to him. So if you're another team wanting Davante Adams, of course you want the player, but you don't want that price tag. So are the Raiders in a position where they'll say, we'll eat some of it. Don't worry. Right now, as of right now, Greeny, no moves have been made.
Well, the two teams he wanted are New Orleans because of Derek Carr and the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers. The Jets just fired their coach, and Derek Carr has an oblique injury and may be out for a little while. So things are getting
Aaron
more
Rodgers
complicated.
is still there.
The only person who really mattered in New York is still there. Does it make sense to you, with everything we've seen happen, Neek, for the Jets to now trade whatever it takes to get Davante Adams?
Absolutely. I don't think it solves their problems, but they're in desperation mode. And I think it does make them a more talented team. So I think this is throw everything at the wall scenario.
That's not new, though. That's not new.
Right.
They've been, and Greeny's laughing, but that's not new. We came into the season knowing it was everything, push everything into the middle of the table. We have to do everything.
I'm laughing because it doesn't even address their problems, but it's still probably a good idea.
No, I think it improves their team. But they can go about it in different ways. Right now, their problem, in my view, offensively, is they're bad on early downs, and they struggle on third down. If they have another weapon, maybe they get better on third down, and they just skip first and second down altogether.
Hawk, you were a wide receiver, so just help me. The offense looks stagnant. Everyone is standing in place. It sucks. If they add Davante Adams to it, does it make an immediate difference? Does Rodgers all of a sudden look like the quarterback we remember him once being?
Davante Adams is an incredible talent. So if you add him to the roster, absolutely it gives you an upgrade at the position. And maybe Aaron Rodgers even looks better for the simple fact that it's what Aaron Rodgers wants. And maybe that's what the goal is to make Aaron Rodgers comfortable
that's been working
that you
so
can
far.
get the best out of him. But the reality is, to Nick's point, the offensive line does not benefit from Davante Adams being there. The run game doesn't change because Davante Adams is there. And even the defense, with Early going the head coach, probably also regresses because now he's not focused solely on one side of the ball. He's focused on the whole team.
Nathaniel Hackett don't change. That's a problem. That's a big problem, y'all. We can skirt around it. That's a big problem. I just gave you the stuff Himbo gave you. That's an issue. So if you can't block it, all the stuff that happens on the outside is a waste of time. Here's the deal: don't move the field goal post. It's Super Bowl or bust. You got a 40-plus-year-old quarterback coming who's getting hit dang near 20 times a game. Looks like he can barely get up and go walk. You better figure out how to block, or all this doesn't make any difference.
They had the man crawling on his knees.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
The other part of that is, to your point, Kimberly, on the players maybe having a bump after the coach gets fired. That typically happens when the players are disgusted with the head coach.
Like in
when
the Raiders,
like they don't like this dude, and then it's a change. I haven't got that feeling on the Salah point. And to your point about offensively, I asked Himbo, the best researcher in all of sports, to find me a stat that shows that the 23 and 24 offense is better than the 21 and 22 Jets offense. He said there wasn't one meaningful stat that could point to that. That's a Nathaniel Hackett problem.
Absolutely.
Because we talked about their terrible quarterback play over the years, and you bring in Aaron Rodgers, it's supposed to look different. Garrett Wilson has regressed. All these players.
Let's give D. Wood the final word here for the moment. Go ahead, Damian.
Yeah, listen, the whole quarterback change is like giving the kids some candy. It's a sugar high, but at some point you're going to come back down. And I'll just say this. We can talk about Nathaniel Hackett, and we all know Nathaniel Hackett's not the greatest of coaches. But if you're the Jets, nothing matters beyond 2024. Your quarterback already said that he might ain't play past this year. So if you're going to make a move for Davante Adams, you need to go ahead and make it, because you don't even know if you're going to have Aaron Rodgers beyond this year. So hell, push all your chips in, go for it, see what happens. If it don't work, you're going to blow the whole thing up anyway.
Makes great TV too. Let's do it.
I mean, are there other teams to consider now? I mean, we keep talking about the Jets because of this happening, and the Steelers
that's a team that I've said from the beginning. But they're also in on Brandon Ayuk and did not get him, so they are in there. The question again, though, is the money. Like the Raiders, he could be moved very quickly if the Raiders are like, sure, we'll pay off a portion of that. if they don't.
We'll see. It's like $1 million a week that it goes down. Right? They're paying him $1 million a week not to play right now, so we'll see. So Kimberly mentioned the Steelers. That might not be the only change that we see in Pittsburgh. Is the door open for Russell Wilson to take over as QB1?
Attention Raiders fans. Big changes are coming to the Las Vegas offense. Aiden O'Connell, the young quarterback who was drafted in the 4th round of the 2023 draft, will be the new starter when we face the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 6. Antonio Pierce, our interim head coach, made the decision to bench Gardner Minshew and give O'Connell the opportunity to lead the offense. Pierce made it clear in his press conference it was a quarterback battle at first, but right now I think it's best to move forward with Aiden. I don't plan on making any more changes this season, but when they're needed, I will. O'Connell, who has already played 2 games this year, has shown glimpses of his potential, although he has also had his ups and downs. In his debut against the Panthers, he threw a touchdown pass, but in the game against the Broncos, he suffered an interception. Now he'll get a chance to redeem himself and prove that he can be the leader the team needs. But that's not all. There's more news out of Las Vegas. We're all keeping an eye on the situation of Davante Adams, who has requested a trade. The Jets and Saints are on his list of preferences, but in the meantime, Adams is still a part of the Raiders. Although he's not 100% due to a hamstring injury, Antonio Pierce has assured that Davante wants to stay in Las Vegas and will play as soon as he's fully healthy. Adams has been instrumental to our offense this year, catching 18 of the 27 passes Minshew threw to him, racking up 209 yards and a touchdown. Imagine what he could do alongside O'Connell when he's healthy. What do you think, Raider Nation? Will Aiden O'Connell be the spark our offense needs? Will we see Davante Adams back on the field soon? Leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Let's go all out, Raiders.